Okay, I'm gonna make a particular a particular statement in reference to that squirrel that I'm feeding. You see him right there eating his little loaf of bread that I set down for him. See, what I do is I've developed a relationship with the neighborhood birds and the squirrels in reference to throwing out pieces of bread every morning when I wake up. And as I'm throwing out this bread, see, what I did was at first a few of them would come and fly by and land close by my tent, okay? And then periodically throughout the day, they do the same thing. So what I did was on the day I was eating a sandwich, I took some crust off the bread and I threw it outside of the tent, and they noticed it and ate it, okay? And so I did the same thing again the next 3 or 4 days. Then what I started doing in the midst of this is I started pairing the bread to a whistle, mimicking their whistles. There's one that will go, I want you to listen. Okay, that one particular one is not around. We do it every day, literally every day. When I sing that song, when I whistle that whistle, they'll do it. Then I'll do it, then they'll do it. Then I'll do it, then they'll do it. And then what I basically am trying to describe is I have literally developed relationships through classically conditioning sounds to a reward. Throwing the pieces of bread out at specific places by my hiking area, okay? And the birds came, and every day since then, they have been coming every single morning like clockwork, waiting for the bread in reference to how I start whistling, okay? Then the squirrels started coming as a result of them, I guess, being observers and noticing what the birds were getting. And now the squirrels have been classically conditioned to come when I start whistling, and when they get here, I'll go as they're getting the bread. This classically conditions through association that there's a reward matched to what they hear, the sound of the whistle or because I double pair with the whistle as well. And whenever I do that, they come a-calling. And this is what is called as forming associations in an animal's mind, a mammal's mind, and in a bird's mind, that they get a reward as a result of being signaled by the whistle. And the whistle, or is the stimuli for them to hear through their senses, and as a result, the association's been formed that they can come and get something to eat. Now, in brain entrainment in organized gang stalking expeditions, is what they'll do is tear down the target's life, every aspect of their life. They'll stage vehicle accidents so they don't have a car to sleep in. They'll create homelessness and then keep it initiated, okay? And then they'll have them gang stalked along all their route to make them feel harassed everywhere they go and stalked everywhere they go as a result of the people they use on each specific day, most of the time different people, to have those people get around the target to repeat things that they've been sensitized to. Just like the squirrels and the birds are sensitized to the whistling being formed with a reward, okay? So what they'll do is tear down every aspect of a target's life, including their finances. They'll take them off of Social Security until they can get a hold of them and then reapply for it in their name, both through syndicated probate control. But the point I'm trying to make is this, is that what they'll do is try to entrain specific thought patterns and behavior patterns that are attached to the thought processes to get them, the targets, to depend on the places that these organized crime members are syndicated to and connected to and can be influenced by, like charities, self-help groups, food banks, churches, where the target will run to for assistance as a result of them being financially destitute, as a result of the target being blacklisted from employment, as a result of them being in extremely physical, destitute situations and circumstances, like the deliberately created homelessness. And this is done to lead the target physically to places that they can depend on. That's why the financial destitution is created, in order to form thought processes that a target can go from one place to get food, just like a bird can come to get their bread, based on the whistle, okay? So what they want to do is form associations in a target's mind in reference to certain thought processes and the resulting motor cortex associated behaviors of running to the places that they're stirred to go to by individuals who will enter their lives through friendly appearing means or through normal environments like churches, self-help groups, charities, and they'll put the idea in the target's head that they can go to these places through multiple avenues. By getting and sitting next to a target. When a target's at a library, they'll sit down next to them and pretend like they're having a cell phone conversation, or that they're talking to somebody else that they've come in the library with. They'll sit next to a target or behind them, and they'll start talking about how, yeah, they just lost their job, and they were lucky to find this charity or church they could go to get some help. Okay, and that plants the anchors, the idea in the target's mind that they can go to the specific place. They go there, and at first will get some help, at least moderate help, but they got to sign papers to do it. This is done so they can classically condition and train neural pathways to get the target to run to them as a result of depending on them, because they now have a need to depend on them. Okay, or what they'll do is get around a target and say, you know, my life is all screwed up. I had no way of getting no help. I'm down and out. I had no money. And I was told all I had to do is go to the hospital and I might be able to get some help in reference to services they might advocate for. But I got to kind of try and lie and tell them that I'm suicidal or whatever, or that you're possibly might even be hearing voices, in order to be able to then be put on a psychiatric floor where they say the services will be offered at. Community services like resources to set you up in an apartment, resources that you can apply for food stamps or any kind of help, resources that are designed to where, like, if you claim you got a problem, what they'll do is try and steer your thinking to go to a specific place so you can get services as a result of going to the place. And this is all done to get you to think about it and then to get you to get up and go to it. And that's a neural pathway that they're creating through deception by advertising that you can get help. You go there, you tell them what you've been made to believe that you've got to tell them in order to get these services, and they'll put you on a psychiatric floor, discredit you, and then bilk your insurance out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And how do they do that? The first visit, they'll bilk your Medicare at least be anywhere between $500 to $3,000 to $4,000. But you got to remember, this is a neural pathway now. The thinking and the getting up and going. Okay, they identify and mark that neural pathway using remote neural monitoring and can stimulate that thinking back into current consciousness in real time on any day. Okay, because the target is left in the circumstances that brought about the depression. Okay, that excited them to go to that place anyways as a result of the person hearing they could go to these places. So basically what they're doing is keeping the target destitute and then stimulating that neural pathway to bring all that thinking back in real time and the motor cortex associated behaviors that are entwined and infused in that neural pathway of getting up and going to the hospital so the Medicare can be bilked again. It's entrainment, neural entrainment of a neural pathway so they can identify the resonance frequency of that neural pathway and then use remote neural monitoring to stimulate it back into current consciousness on any date, okay, to get the target to rethink that they can go back to this place again, yes, and then to get up and go, because the motor cortex associated behaviors are infused in that neural pathway. Motor cortex associated behaviors are the behaviors of getting up and actually going to the hospital so the Medicare can be bilked again. That's why they stimulate that neural pathway that's got the thoughts and the actions back into current consciousness in real time to get the target to go back to the hospital so they can bilk the Medicare again. Neural enslavement. Brain entrainment for neural enslavement using remote neural monitoring to stimulate what's entrained for insurance fraud and to discredit the target in the meantime, to make it appear that the target was the one that came to us. We had nothing to do with it. Yeah. And the false diagnosis is to cover their tracks in reference to the Medicare fraud and to discredit the target in case the target ever realizes the truth. They can say, this woman's crazy. We don't know what she's talking about. Really? Well, the older technology that used to be used in order to interface with the remote neural monitoring is brain implants. And some of those older brain implants can be found on X-rays and MRI imaging. My name is Leslie Williams. This is one of the reasons why they tear down targets' lives, so they can brain and train them for prostitution, getting them to think about sex for money. Once they think about it and act on it, that's a neural pathway. It can be stimulated back into current consciousness to be rethought out and reacted upon. And when they stimulate any neural pathway, it's stimulated on a timed, constant rate in order to make sure that the thinking remains in the consciousness and that no other conscious deliberations can fight it. Yes, it's neural enslavement. I make these videos to inform, to expose the truth so people can know the truth about what's happening to innocent human beings that were taken out of their homes for these neural exploitation, financial exploitation, and insurance exploitation, and sexual exploitation by criminals they don't even know. And these are the schemes and crafted expeditions that bring it all about. My name is Leslie Williams. Look in the description of this YouTube video for cooperative material, and you will see that I'm telling you the truth. And just to give you a sidebar illustration, go to YouTube and type in Timothy W. Bioethics Issues. Yes, he talks about brain entrainment and neurocognitive weapons. Thank you.